now time for community conversations, a program focusing on the community working to make the Jonesboro community a better place while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views expressed in this program are those of the participant, not necessarily the views of KMDA 102.5 voice behind the Advocacy Council or our underwriters or sponsors.
Good morning, listeners. We have a special guest in the studio today. Thank you for tuning in to KLK 102.5 FM. This is your girl, Kobe Harden, and along with Gansy Kale, Mr. Taylor Wonder, and our special guest is Dr. Susan Hanrahan of Arkansas State University. She's a student in profession and a professor of physical therapy. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for being here today. Okay, so I was reading through your bio and I was like, oh my goodness, how do you have time to sleep, eat, or just be? Before we get into all of that, I want you to please give the listeners a little bit of background about you.
Okay. I'm the Dean of College of Nursing Health Professions at Arkansas State University. I came to Jonesboro in 1995 from the state of Kansas. So I've been here a long time.
Okay.
I've served as dean and came to the college and found there were a lot of things that needed to transpire, and we've been working on them ever since.
And I'm very happy to have you here. I'm sure the community of Jonesboro is very happy to have you as well. Okay, so like I said, I was reading through your biography and I was looking at your research, and so maybe we may not go through each single one in full detail, but can you kind of go through the list and tell you?
Well, I've been particularly interested in health, obviously, and women's health has been an interest of mine. Actually, my doctoral work was on a women's health issue.
Okay.
There are adolescent health things that we've studied as well, and I think it's important for us and our community and ourselves to better understand what these situations and conditions are and how we might do more appropriate interventions that are long-term and long-lasting.
Yes, ma'am, it's very important because a lot of people they have a few aches and pains, but they just ignore it. But your body is trying to tell you something, you need to pay attention. The better you take care of yourself early on, the better body, the longer your body will last.
Prevention is the key, absolutely. We call it like a river. Once you fall into the river and start going downstream, that's a problem. But if you can keep from falling in the stream, that's the best way possible.
All right, thank you. Okay, let's see. I'm going to start with a question about, you mentioned earlier about adolescent health as well. July is Juvenile Arthritis Awareness Month. Do you deal much with that topic?
Well, we have a lot of disciplines in the College of Nursing and Health Professions. So nursing is obvious, but we also have physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech language pathology. We have some diagnostic areas, we have social work, we have dietetics.
Oh, okay.
So there are lots of professions with college that deal with unique aspects of juvenile diabetes and other types of arthritis and or not diabetes, but arthritis and juvenile diabetes is significant too.
Okay. And it is the NYIT program. Can you please first explain what that is and then get a little more into how it benefits Arkansas State University?
Well, NYIT is New York Institute of Technology, and they have come from New York to the campus of Arkansas State University to provide for our region a doctor of osteopathy medicine. So it's an opportunity for them to be here to take their first class of students, which will in the fall. Over 100 new medical students will start in just a few weeks.
Okay.
What's going to provide a lot of opportunities, I think, for primary care. DOs are well noted in the primary care field. They do specialty care as well, but primary care is a big deal for them, and that will, because a lot of the needs in the Delta are primary care needs.
Okay.
It's going to really be impactful. And working with us, we're right across the street from the school.
Okay.
So it'll be easy for us to work with them on what we might call interprofessional activities, teaming activities, which are really important. So the doctors can work with nurses or therapists or some of our lab or X-ray imaging areas. So I think they can use our labs, we can use their labs, and it's really going to be instructional. You mentioned
They may want to go and be doctors.
medical doctors are what they describe as allopathic medicine, DOs, or osteopathic medicine. They pretty much do allopathic medicine, plus they have a component in their curriculum that is more manual therapy. So that makes DO distinctive from MD.
Okay.
Okay, because I know my care physician is DO.
Yeah, they do. And they, again, their practice is just pretty much similar to an MD. Most patients don't know the difference or don't realize the difference.
Okay. Well, thank you for clearing that up for us, Doctor. For those of you who may be tuning in, we have Dr. Hanrahan, Dr. Susan Hanrahan of Arkansas State University. She's the Dean of Nursing and Health Professions, a professor of physical therapy here in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Okay, Doctor. What are some new developments? You know, you talked about the NYT program, but within the nursing, and I know it's probably a lot, but within your department, what are some new developments?
Well, within the college, if you've followed us over the last 20 plus years, we've added a lot of new programs and we've added a lot of new centers and things like that. But most recently, I think the things that might be of interest to your listening audience would be we're starting a new EMT paramedic program.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So we'll take our first classes this fall in EMT paramedic. We've also just started occupational therapy, and we have a real deficit of occupational therapy providers in our region. So we've got an occupational therapy doctorate program and then an OT assistant program. And then just recently, I know people have been reading in the news, but I've been working with the City of Walnut Ridge and in Bowdoin to build a technical training center for disasters.
Oh, wow.
So we're acquiring a large tract of land to build things like earthquake zones, flood zones, train derailments, tornado alleys, anything that might be disaster related, so we can bring teams of people in to train together. Should one of these disasters occur, they would all have simulated this kind of activity. So as you might imagine, it takes a lot of space, a lot of land,
Yes.
and we're just starting work on that right now, but we're very excited because I think this will be very important for our entire region and it'll bring a lot of people from outside the region to our area for that level of education.
And one of the things that I've noticed that has taken place, that the College of Nursing and Health Professions is taking over the building next to you, I believe it's now, I can't think of the name of it.
Smith?
The Smith Center. I remember when I was in school, that's where you go for your financial aid and the register and all of that, and you all took that building over and now are using it for the College of Nursing and Health Professions. So let the listeners know some of the programs that are going inside that building.
Well, let me just say that I came and we had one building and now we have three buildings. So there are three buildings side to side. We've built probably since the Donald W. Reynolds Center for Health Sciences. So that's a brand new building on the other side of Smith Hall, which used to be Chickasaw. All Chickasaw services moved across the street to the new student.
Oh, wow.
So within Chickasaw now, we've got lots of programs: clinical laboratory science, physical therapies in the basement, occupational therapy labs on the first floor. We've got social work, disaster preparedness, emergency management, nutrition. We're actually starting work on an entry-level master's program in athletic training in that building as well. We put a new ambulance simulator in there for our EMT paramedic program. We've built a brand new nutrition lab, which is huge and very supportive for our students. We have a driving simulator in there for occupational therapists who are doing driver's education. So I'm not sure you would recognize the building if you came back to visit, but lots of good stuff.
Well, hopefully you can arrange a tour.
Sure.
We'd definitely love to see that.
Anytime. And then if you came to the Donald W. Reynolds Center for Health Sciences, a gigantic clinical learning lab for our nursing students that looks like a huge hospital. I mean, it has high fidelity mannequins that do about everything. We have birthing mannequins, so it really delivers babies. We have little Patrick babies. We have an ICU. We have OR suite, operating room suite up there. We have in the basement we've got our speech and hearing center, we've got our Beck Pride Center for America's Wounded Vets. So a lot of opportunity to bring the community in.
You all have everything. I did get to tour the NYIT when it opened up, and I was just impressed by the technology they had in there. So it looks like between the College of Nursing and Health Professions and the IT Medical School that Arkansas State has top-notch facilities in which students can learn about health professions.
We hope, it's, our equipment's kind of expensive, so it's hard to keep up state of the art, but I think we've done a pretty good job, and I think our students, you'll see them, they're walking around, even though they're very intensive programs, they're walking around smiling because they practice on virtual IVs, they can practice on these mannequins, and stick show needles like we used to, so lots of things have changed.
Yeah, that's definitely new school right there.
That's right. That's why you got out of the clinical laboratory, right?
Well, actually, it was because I just couldn't get the grasp of anatomy.
Truth. The truth comes out.
For those of you who may be interested in the nursing field, you need to please check out the Arkansas State University College of Nursing and Professions. It sounds like you have so much to offer for anyone with any interest in the nursing field.
Well, personality have the most.
I thank you for the comments, Farrell.
Yes, thank you. I can answer both of those questions. Certainly for your knee, when you have bone on bone, there's not going to be too much that's going to make that any less painful. But the important thing now for you before you have a total knee replacement is to get those muscles as strong as possible and the ligaments as strong as possible, because once you have surgery, then your recovery is going to be a lot better. If you just sit there and really not do anything, it'll take a lot longer for you to do rehabilitation post-surgery. So that's really important.
I know Mrs. Farrell rides her bike all the time. Is that a good exercise for her knee? And what other exercises would you recommend for her to strengthen those muscles?
Riding bike is good, except sometimes if you get a lot of bend in your knee when you're riding bike, it kind of irritates your joint. So if you can move your seat up so you're getting less bend in your knee, that might actually make your knee feel better. Because again, if you're getting a lot what we call flexion, again, that's a lot more bone-on-bone activity. Okay. So raise your seat up, and that might be that might help. Swimming would be fabulous. Anything where you're not doing direct weight bearing on your leg and putting your weight and pressure where it compresses that number, that would be beneficial. And water certainly is buoyant. Nurse practitioners are great. They are primary care, like physician's assistants, if you've heard of them. In our college, we do have a nurse practitioner program. It's an advanced practice track in nursing, so it's at the graduate level. You have to be a nurse, a baccalaureate level nurse, to be admitted into a family nurse practitioner program. And our nurse practitioners graduate and they practice all over our region. You know, I've had people tell me that they love their nurse practitioner and actually sometimes prefer them. I don't want to say this to their primary care physician, but they have lots of education and they are very instrumental in the patient, identify some of their issues and providing the education necessary to kind of move them forward.
That's great. I also see a nurse practitioner mainly when I go to my doctor's office, and like I said, they are very wonderful. They're just as knowledgeable. Some of them have a little more compassion.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I love the doctors, don't be mad at me, but some of the nurse practitioners, they're like that in between the nurse and the they have a little more compassion.
Well, and then they understand too their role, that they're not a physician. So when situations come up where they know the individual needs for advanced care, they will make those appropriate referrals.
Okay. Alrighty. So I want to get to a topic. And this making okay. What projects are you personally involved? I mean, we have a laundry list of things that you are involved in. what are some of the ones that are, I guess, at the top of your list?
Well, just some of the things we talked about within the college are the things like our training center that we're going to have for disasters, trying to continue to enhance our existing programs. You know, there continues to be a workforce shortage with healthcare providers. So we're continually working to increase our class sizes in nursing, increase our class sizes in rehabilitation, making sure that we've got educational programs in BB and Mountain Home in West Memphis, and making sure that we expand the class sizes to help meet the need. So certainly trying to improve programs, you know, make the curriculum stronger at the same time as increasing the numbers, because all of our programs are selective admissions that you have to meet certain criteria, and we only have so many spaces available. So then we again have centers like our hippotherapy program, which is equine assisted, our healthy ager program, our Beck Pride Center for America's Wounded Vets. So any of our center operations that we have, again, trying to facilitate and ensure that we market appropriately. So there's always something to do within the college, and our ability to continue to build our teams and develop our leadership so that we can make a difference in our communities and be impactful is really important to us.
Okay, thank you. For those of you listening, we're talking with Dr. Susan Hanrahan of Arkansas State University. She is the Dean of Nursing and Health Professions and a Professor of Physical Therapy. I am truly enjoying our conversation. There are so many facets to the nursing program, and we could spend this whole hour talking about every single thing, but we don't want to bore you too much, but we do want to give you just some information on, you know, what's available at Arkansas State University, what the nursing program has to offer. So I hope you all are enjoying. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to call in at 870-277-1080. Okay,
Once again, that phone number is 870-277-1080.
Thank you. Okay, so I also read that you were recently appointed to Arkansas. Oh, before we get into that, let's talk about your new appointment to an interim position.
Well, actually, that's been here and gone. So for a year, I was the interim dean of the College of Education and Behavioral Science. Some leadership transition changes, and the provost asked if I would help out until they were able to hire somebody in a permanent capacity. So I worked with that college for a year, and they have programs in, you know, they have health, physical education, sports science, psychology, which is one of your interests, in counseling, and then lots of education programs. So an interesting experience, and Mary Jane Bradley now is the dean of that college, so good luck for her.
Okay. All right, well then let's move into, well, we have a few minutes left before break. I want to talk a little bit, I'm big on community service. So I can't do in too much detail right now, but I just want you to please give a few words of encouragement.
Well, I think we are people of the community of Jonesboro, and I think as a citizen, it is our responsibility and obligation to get involved and volunteer and do the things that are necessary. And actually, volunteerism is one of the most impactful things that you can do. I think it's critical that people identify something that they have interest in, maybe they have a passion, and then just get hooked up. And if you can't get hooked up, find somebody who can hook you and get in there and get started, because it's really, if you feel like your life is not going the way it needs to, get involved, because you'll find out it really does change your attitude and behavior.
And when we come back from break, I just had a question, concerning, you mentioned community involvement, about setting up maybe some health fairs. So we'll get more into that in a few moments.
Listen to Community Conversations with Dr. Susan Hanrahan, Dean of the College of Nursing and Health Professions on the campus of Arkansas State University. Online is still open at 870-277-1080. This is Kate on 2.5 FM. Webcam rolling.
Okay, so these are those are the announcements.
Okay, got it.
So we'll be back. So we got
We're about 3 minutes. Of course, our live stream is still going.
So you can still hear us talk.
I always remind guests this so they don't say they on cuff. it would be nice if this had a pause button, but the screen doesn't have to. I didn't even have to stop it or restart it, so it just rolls the entire hour.
Okay, so what are some other things we're going to get into again when we come back? I'm talking about.
Well, you might want to kind of touch more on community service, some of the things that they have to offer. Maybe also mention health fairs.
So they want to get back.
To learn more about how to turn your trials into triumphs, check out my podcast with author and former NFL quarterback
People can reach out to you to organize all of their events. You could never do enough blood pressure, diabetes, just those basic.
Of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, a organization committed to service. And you will go into Alpha Kappa Alpha that organization.
But I am curious, how do you do that? Like, how do you, from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, how do you not feel burnt out?
Some people feel stress as negative stress. I think stress is positive stress. I don't want to feel stress. Some days are like, oh my God.
Okay. And do you have children?
I have 2 stepsons.
Okay. Okay, you don't have to worry about the other one right now. Oh, goodness. Any grandchildren? Have they expressed any interest in your field or the other little okay.
0203 951. This event is KLEK Fund.
Support for Family Care is made possible by Stars Auto Plaza, 2829 Red Bulls Boulevard, offering clean, reliable vehicles.
So what's this
all
one there?
makes models, sold wholesale. Start off, no half pricing.
I just
With approved credit.
So I teach a program
and everything
I discipline. I used to practice physical therapy, used to
Stars Auto Plaza.
but now I just
And KLEK.
Okay.
all of the professions, the nursing plus all of the other ones that I mentioned, so.
Be sure to let them know that you like them.
And now back to community conversation on KLEK 102.5 FM.
Hello, welcome back. Thank you for joining us on Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM, where our special guest is Dr. Susan Hanrahan, Dean of Nursing and Health Professions at Arkansas State University. Thank you, Doctor, for joining us.
Here.
Okay, I'm going to finish up with a topic that we had started before the break. We were talking about community service, community involvement, and how the community can get involved. So I wanted to ask, how can individuals that are interested go about setting up health fairs? ASU have their own list of programs, and how can we reach out to you?
Well, there's a lot of health information out there, and if you watch our hospitals, St. Bernard's offers a whole lot of stuff, NDA offers a lot of stuff. So, excuse me. From our community, there's a lot available already.
Okay.
But if you wanted to do something more specific, we have a program in North Jonesboro called ACE Day Care, Community Action Reinforcing Empowerment. And often we put together a health fair for residents in North Jonesboro. We do that about once a year. Sometimes the churches are interested also in having somebody come in and do blood pressures, or anytime where you have a group of people that might congregate that might want some knowledge about their health status. It would be very easy to just contact us and we could see what we could help set up
Okay, if there's anyone out there that is interested in earning some community service hours, doing a community service project. Amen. Yes. Thank you, Mrs. Norman. Yes, I'm very glad you brought that point up. Like I was talking with Dr. Hanrahan before we actually got started, that I am an advocate for the adolescent population. I love working with them. I love encouraging them. I would love to see more of our youth in this community or any community get more involved. I mean, they're going to be one day adults in the community in which they live. So they need to start now learning what's around, what's available, just how to get more involved. So thank you, Ms. Norma.
Yeah, I think that oftentimes everybody's caught up in their own life and they have this little narrow vision of what's going on in the world. Until you get out there and see what's really going on, you really can't connect, you really can't understand, you really can't wholly participate in what's happening in our region. So absolutely, I'm grateful when people take the time and effort and they share their skills and abilities with everyone in our region.
Yes, ma'am. And I was going to make this comment a little later, but I'll say it now. All it takes is one person to do one thing to start making a difference in the community. Imagine if each person did that one thing. I mean, what a snowball effect we can create. I mean, we can increase the quality of life for all residents in the community.
It's that pay it forward mentality.
Yes, ma'am.
That's fabulous.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so we're going to switch.
Well, we have a Facebook question I want to ask. This question comes from Gail Raspberry. She's asked, with medical cannabis sweeping the nation and saving the lives of patients with a multitude of debilitating conditions, please ask Dr. Hanrahan why her college was not involved in the A-State students, I'll just say Seymour, A-State Students for Sensible Drug Policies conference last fall entitled Miracle Marijuana, in which Arkansas Let's Talk About It, which would have been a valid educational program for her college to be a part of. Failure to address this emerging medical treatment is a failure on her part to honestly educate her students. For your information, I am a former secretary in her college and was the advisor for the student group and invited her to participate. So that comes from our listeners. So Dr. Hanrahan, if you would like to respond.
Yeah, that was very serious about this issue, and I think that certainly there was educational opportunity available at the university. Students could certainly participate in it. Our college just chose not to sponsor the activity. So it's a big issue in the state of Arkansas now. There's a lot of education out there about it. People can read the pros and cons, so we'll see how this plays out over the course of next year.
Okay, well, thank you for answering that question. I mean, there's a lot of thoughts. People have thoughts on one side or the other of the spectrum. This is medical marijuana, and the conversation alone could take up a whole we're not going to spend the whole hour on that, but thank you for that question. So, okay, I'm going to ask another question. I see that you were also appointed to the Arkansas Tobacco Commission. Okay, first, please explain what the Tobacco Commission is and then your role with that.
About 12 years ago, the state of Arkansas, through an initiated act, created the Arkansas Tobacco Commission, and when the tobacco groups got into all lawsuit difficulties, funding became available to the state of Arkansas to dedicate to whatever the state chose. Unfortunately, the state of Arkansas chose that all the money coming to us from the tobacco companies was going toward health programming.
Okay.
So the state developed 7 separate initiatives. I chaired the Tobacco Settlement Commission for quite a while, so we actually provided administrative oversight to things like the Centers on Aging, like tobacco-assisted prevention, like the College of Public Health. So there are monies out there that are appropriated for these programs to do their thing, and that's kind of our role and responsibility as the commissioner.
Okay, since you have been involved, have you seen any changes in people's tobacco use?
Yes. Often there are lots of cessation programs out there and people participate. So numbers for certain age groups seem to be improving.
Okay.
Sometimes for females versus males, adolescents versus adults, things change, but I think we're all on the right road. Often when the sales tax tobacco price increases, that's when we see see a lot of people decide, well, maybe this is maybe it's too expensive for me to continue with this particular health habit that I have.
Okay. I know we can, the commission, the people that are trying to get people to stop smoking, I know you're not going to reach everyone, but we just want to encourage you all, just take better care of your health. And just consider the long-term effects it could have on you. This is not a preaching at you moment, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, we only have one body and one mind, so, it's really up to us to take care of ourselves. We kind of have to figure out where we're at, where we want to be, and little steps on how to get there.
Yes, ma'am.
Phone line is 870-277-1080. Once again, that phone number is 870-277-1080 with Dr. Susan Hanrahan, who is the Dean of the College of Nursing and Health Professions on the campus of Arkansas State University. So if you have any questions for her, please call in. We're also streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube. You can also post your questions there as well.
Okay, I wanted to ask another question. Okay, I have been in contact with the County Cooperative Extension Office, and they offer a variety of health programs. Do you partner with them or any other nonprofit organizations?
Well, it just depends upon the season, so yes, we do partner with a lot of different groups, and depending on what the topic is and, here. But, I think our college is all about health and wellness.
Okay.
We're all about people, again, taking responsibility for their health and being accountable for their actions. So it's important for people to, again, understand that exercise or physical activity and nutrition are probably the 2 biggest things that can impact you now and into the future. There's so much associated with every disease process that's chronic and we never talk about. So where you are in your life, if you're sitting there thinking, okay, what should I do? Well, maybe just drink 2 less sodas a day, or maybe just get out and walk a little more, or do some things that you don't normally do that are going to be better health choices for you now in the future.
Okay. And do you encourage students to come up with projects to the community or to the school?
Our students do a lot of community education. Remember, we have a dietetics program, so there's a lot of nutrition education. Our nurse students do a lot of education as well, physical therapy, occupational therapy. When you just think about the disciplines we do lots of education, yes.
So again, if there's anyone out there who wants to host some type of community event, please reach out to the school nursing professions. I'm sure that they can give you the answer that you're seeking and get you set up with the right person.
And if you have a community events and you need a speaker, if you want somebody to talk about juvenile arthritis, or if you want somebody to talk about health choices or food choices or exercise.
We can definitely use one of those for future editions of Community Conversations.
Absolutely.
Yes,
we've got them for you.
Okay. We're going to follow up with another question concerning the Affordable Care Act. How has the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, affected the College of Nursing and Health Professions? We hear a lot of the impact upon patients, but what about from a health education point?
Yeah, actually for the state of Arkansas, their first choice in doing Medicaid expansion for our population has been so significant and impactful that it's provided lots, about 220,000 plus individuals to have health insurance that have never had before, and many of those difficult to reach. So the big problem with the College of Nursing and Health profession is, do you have enough health providers in those regions for the new people that have insurance now?
Okay.
So already, even before that, we were in a health profession shortage area. We're in a medically underserved area. So we really had to work real hard on increasing the number of graduates that we have in our college and hopefully placing them in regions where access was not quite as strong as maybe in some of our more metropolitan areas. But the other thing that the Act did was really have us focus on things like cultural competency, health literacy, teaming, interprofessional care, so that you work with teams of people on the delivery of health care, health and wellness, the primary care that we talked about. So we needed to make sure that we had integrated all of those elements into our curriculum. So it's, we really focus on teaching our skills, nurses how to be nurses, and PTs how to be PTs, but there are other elements too to broaden the base of understanding and intervention that we needed to provide, like recognition of the level of health that our patient may have, and if we're trying to give them medications or instructions and they can't read or they can't understand or they can't interpret, things could go wrong very quickly.
Okay. I know when I was in school, there was information available about people in certain fields that if they had student loans, they would be free or you would get some type of discount if you worked in a certain profession in a certain area at a certain time. Do you have the same incentives for the nurses?
The state of Arkansas continues to have for nurses only. I'm aware of it for any of the other professions.
Okay.
For physicians probably, and maybe even pharmacists, but I'm not clear. But for the nurses, yes, absolutely. If you commit to practicing in a rural area for a certain amount of time, they will do loan forgiveness programs. And even recently, they've focused on health or nursing educators, because we're at the age now where a lot of nurses are going not only out of the workforce, out of the education, but academia. So we were having a hard time recruiting nurse educators to be part of academic teams. So they were giving loan forgiveness to those who chose to go to academia and do something. So that was kind of cool for us.
That's wonderful. So there's always something that can be done in the nursing field. Oh gosh. You should not get bored or never get bored in the nursing field.
But when you're working with people, and again, whether it's dietetics or occupational therapy, they're nurses, but they have their own discipline. Anytime you're working with patients and families, it's not boring. It's a joy, you're there to try to help them improve their life, to move to that little higher level of functioning, to do something that's going to be impactful for them for the rest of their lives.
So again, thanks. Excuse me. We're keeping KLK 102.5 of Virginia Conversations. Dr. Susan Hanrahan, Dean of Nursing, professor of Physical Therapy at Ball State University. And the phone lines are open, 870-277-1080. Also, you can watch us live on Facebook and YouTube.
Well, I'm going to ask a lighthearted question. So, when Hal and Scarlett come in, who takes care of their health needs throughout college?
I don't think that they've had any serious orthopedic injuries lately.
Hal rides a motorcycle
that could be
at the beginning of each game.
He doesn't have a helmet on. See, that's a problem. Has an accident, we don't want any head trauma for sure.
You wouldn't want any of your students to have practice on Hal. Shout out to Hal and shout out to Scarlett. Shout out to those Arkansas State Red Wolves.
All right. I'm hoping to be one soon. I started out as an Indian one day.
Well, I graduated as Indian, so 4 times.
We still love you. We'll keep you.
Okay, we're talking with Dr. Susan Hanrahan, and she's given us a lot of wonderful information. I want to share some people out there that are listening. Health is important, and I want to know how important that is. Like, I don't want to do myself, but I suffer from a condition called lymphedema, and I'll talk about that more on the show. But it affects me in ways that people on the outside looking in understand. I would like to know, there are no specialists here in Jonesboro or in Arkansas, period. I do see a physical therapist every now and then, or rehab therapist. Do you see an increase, foresee an increase in specialty practice?
Yeah, for the physicians, absolutely. The physicians used to be predominantly primary care, internal medicine, and then all of a sudden we needed a lot more higher level knowledge in neurology and oncology and specialty. So we're seeing and continue to see and radiologist and on and on, so a lot of specialty areas. In some of the health disciplines, like physical therapy that you mentioned, absolutely, that students graduate from our programs with generalist degrees. They know a little bit about everything.
Okay.
But many of them go on to work with individuals who may have cancer or who have lymphedema or who need orthopedic or sports medicine care or, on and on. There's lots of specializations out there for physical therapists. So yes, we need the generalists, but at the same time, if you have that little extra bit of knowledge for somebody who has the condition and really needs some specialty attention, it's wonderful to have those choices.
I would love to have someone come out and do a presentation because it's hard finding someone in Jonesboro. When I talk to even some medical professionals, when I mention lymphedema, they look at me kind of with this glazed look, and most people only hear about it when it's linked to breast cancer.
Secondary cancer, that's right.
And so there are a lot of people that are, I don't want to say suffering, they're living with this condition that have not ever had cancer. So I would love for someone to really come in and talk about the aspect of lymphedema and how it affects people's lives. It's more than just swelling, and with a lot of other medical conditions, it's more than just what we see. There's a lot of underlying issues. We're going to get ready for a break soon. Are there any pointers you want to give to anyone right quick?
Well, just to follow up on the thing you've been talking about, I think that individuals who have chronic diseases, something that have been with them a very long time, it is a day-to-day challenge, and sometimes these are like invisible disabilities, or invisible situations that people don't realize the day-to-day challenges that individuals and their families may have. So I think our population needs to be a little more sympathetic, but at the same time too, I think the individuals in those circumstances, like you, are taking the initiative to figure out, okay, what are the things I can build into my life that are going to be positively impactful for me now and into the future.
Thank you so very much. And we'll be right back on KLK 102.5 FM. Get the timing down a little bit.
Just look at her. I'm like, hold on, 3 seconds. Wrap it up.
Yeah, well, some people. Your hand still here.
That's bone on bone. You lift it up a little bit, and there's less. You have less movement in that joint. You're still getting the effects of fighting. You're getting still the effects of muscle strengthening and all of that.
Ms. Farrell's a senior citizen, so I'm sure that
That name really rings a bell. I'm not sure that I've not met her before.
Well, she's active in the community,
Yeah.
so you probably have seen her around.
Yeah.
She's very active.
Well, she must be an ardent listener to your program.
Well, yes, ma'am. She calls in every day. No matter what guests we have on, she will call in. She'll find a question to ask every guest.
That's good. Keeps it interactive then. People can rely on her.
But like I said, a lot of it now is like with the Facebook question, showing how technology has changed, as we're constantly monitoring the feed.
Yep.
So are any of your colleagues listening or watching, or did you tell them?
I have no idea. Yeah.
Well,
I don't. Everybody says we're getting ready to start school. So.
Well, like I said, after you leave, you can look us up on Facebook and you can share the interview if you like.
Yeah.
So who actually was it? Mr. Stanford, Jeremy? Who reached out to you?
Tom Moore,
Okay.
who's in our kind of public relations area.
Okay.
So somebody must have contacted Tom.
Probably. Bill Smith. I
Yeah, Bill
was
Smith.
working with Bill, and Bill.
yes. And Tom works for Bill.
Mhm.
And so I think you've had a series of A-State people,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. 'Cause I reached out to Tom, said gonna need some more guests soon.
Well, if you have specialty top, as I said, if you want somebody to come to physical activity, if you want somebody to come talk about nutrition, anything like that, let me know.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Do you have my card? Yeah, I'm gonna give you my card because
Okay.
yeah, again, things come up and, oh, we probably need to talk about that on the show. Like, I've got people that I can send to you.
And I usually try to have, with each month, with the different health awareness issues, I really like to have someone from, I've reached out to St. Bernard's, and the lady, I think her name's Lydia, she's having really good in the past couple of months, but like I haven't had much contact with her. And I don't want to feel like I'm bugging somebody. But I would love for someone to come and talk about the different health awareness issues. Like next month, my note is at home. I do have one lady come to talk about ovarian cancer. She's a survivor. And you know, ovarian cancer, those individuals get nothing too. Yeah, so
It's not just breast.
maybe have to reach out to you and get a nurse or someone to come and talk as well.
You know, you asked me about DO. Have you guys had Dr. Barbara Ross Lee, who's the founding dean of our DO school?
No, man, I met her when they had opening. I told her that we'd like to have her on. We just haven't scheduled her yet.
Yeah, I think their inaugural class starts like August 2nd, so it's earlier than the university start date. She's dynamite, and yeah, she'd be great for your listeners. You could ask her all sorts of stuff. Barbara Ross Lee. And if you don't know, Diana Ross's sister.
Yeah, but we don't mention.
I just think it's so interesting.
Yeah, she doesn't like to talk about
No,
it.
don't talk about
20
it.
seconds.
Crazy.
I don't know how she came in the room. I've always we're going to get into the planning advisory.
We're gonna have about 4 minutes before that hits 9:50.
And now back to community conversation. 12.5 FM.
Well, welcome back. You're joining us on.
KLK 102.5 FM.
Yes, you're joining us on KLK 102.5 FM. Thank you for joining Community Conversations, where we're talking with Dr. Susan Hanrahan, Dean of Nursing and Health Professions and Professor of Physical Therapy at Arkansas State University. Thank you, Doctor. You have been giving us a lot of wonderful information. Thank you so very much.
So, what did you have a question?
I do. I'm sorry.
Okay, because I was going to ask one, but you go ahead with yours first.
Okay, well, I just wanted to get into, I just see that you were appointed by the mayor of Jonesboro to be a part of the Comprehensive Planning Advisory Commission for the city. So can you please talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think a lot of people in Jonesboro knew about that initiative, more frequently known as Vision 2030. So there's a whole host of us that worked hard on chapters related to the document. I think the biggest thing that I'm happy about that the mayor recognized was kind of a theme throughout the document: healthy people in healthy communities, Jonesboro, Arkansas.
Okay.
Because every chapter in the book, whether it be transportation or housing or education, it's all highly correlated to health outcomes.
Okay.
So the more, having places to walk, having accessibility to farmers markets, having secure housing, livable neighborhoods, walkable neighborhoods, all of that is important for quality of life in the community and for each individual. So it was very fun and informative and educational for me to participate in that.
Okay, well, thank you.
Dr. Hanrahan, what do you see as the future of the College of Nursing and Professions? Obviously, you all have made equipment upgrades. You have the relationship with NYIT old school, but what do you college 5 and 10 years from now?
Our goal has been to be a very need-based college. So like every summer I hit the road and I go talk to hospital CEOs and other healthcare individuals. I look at the trends, I listen to conversations in Arkansas about the future, and then I try to figure out where the college needs to be to help impact that. So it's important for us to stay ahead of the game and working for the state. Things don't change quickly, and healthcare, they do change quickly. So I think it's important for us to try to stay ahead so that we can be working on initiatives that may not be realized until a few years later, but we're not so behind the ball.
Okay.
So I think looking at disciplines, looking at workforce, looking at differences in patient mix, in workforce mix, like LPNs versus RNs, or occupational therapy assistants versus occupational therapists. I mean, things like that are important for us to be cognizant of so we can be flexible and make adjustments as necessary.
Okay.
All right, Dr. Hanrahan, what advice would you give to someone who is pursuing a career in the nursing or the health professions?
Well, I think, we talked about volunteering. If you think you want to be in healthcare, go volunteer. Figure out, if there is something that really, is close to your heart. If you like taking care of kids, if you just like helping people, maybe you don't like people, but you love technology, well, let's get in. We've got a lot of equipment you can work with too. So figure out kind of what your niche is, and then come talk to some of our advisors, and we can take you down a path of maybe you can't spend 4 years in school, maybe you only have 2 years right now, and then I need a job. We can help you fit yourself into whatever continuum of education might be important for you at that moment in time.
Okay, well, thank you so very much, Doctor. I am overjoyed having you here today. Thank you so very much. If any of you have any further questions for Dr. Hanrahan, how can they reach out to you?
Actually, we have a website at the university, so you can just go at edu, College of Nursing and Health Professions, and there's a whole lot of information about all of our departments and our programs and the things that we do on a daily basis. There's a little page about me, and I think my email address is on there, phone numbers are on there, so it's pretty easy to find us.
Okay.
We've been speaking with Dr. Susan Hanrahan, Dean of the College of Nursing and Health Professions on the campus of Arkansas State University. We want to thank Dr. Hanrahan for stopping by the studio today. She has been a gracious guest. She has disseminated a lot of good information to all of the listeners out there. We definitely appreciate her for who do we have coming in tomorrow, Kabila?
You would catch me off guard.
You gotta be ready in this real business.
Well, while she's looking at that, let me just say, I want to thank the station for what they're doing. There are a lot of years of education in our community, and I am grateful that we have a station like this that is dedicated toward that end, because if you look at what's happening in our nation or even our world today, it's a little dicey. But getting people in Jonesboro, providing those educational opportunities, those connections, that empowerment, I think is really critical for our survival.
We couldn't do it without people like you. Once again, thank Dr. Hanrahan. Thank you for stopping by the studio. 15 seconds.
Okay, we have Dr. Marty L. Allen. She's director of the Arkansas State University Museum.
She'll be here tomorrow. This is the conversation, and you listen to KKK 125 FM. All right.